Hello. When my Aunt Gail asked me to present Sam's eulogy, I felt honored. Sam meant so much to me, and I know I can add to everyone whose life he touched. I remember when I was only 5 or 6, one of my favorite people in the world, my Aunt Gail, left me and went off to college. But then she came home and brought Sam with her, and my life was forever changed. I thought Sam was so cool and funny. He loved giving people nicknames, and I was tall and skinny, so I was long ankles for many years after that. He was an athlete, good at everything he did, and he was a person that you just couldn't help but like and want to be around and want to be like. As a 6 or 7 year old, Sam was hero material to me, and he soon became my role model, and he still is. When I read his obituary, I could see the high points, but it was only a framework that can't really express the enormity of the things he accomplished, or the feeling that he put into everything that he did, or the impact that he had on the people around him. For example, the obituary says Sam was an avid sports fan and had a lifelong love for the Boston Red Sox. Avid fan with a lifelong love is just such a huge understatement. To be in Sam's league, you'd have to know the stats for every player that ever played for the Red Sox. You'd have to watch every televised game. You'd have to make pilgrimage after pilgrimage to Fenway Park, maintain a wide collection of memorabilia, and never under any circumstances pull for the Yankees. The obituary said he was a devoted coach for almost 50 years in the community, especially for kids sports in his church. I was not very good at baseball. In fact, to say I was not very good is overstating my abilities by a good bit. Sam volunteered to coach Little League, and he picked me for his team. And he only coached me 1 year before we moved to Oregon, and I still wasn't very good at it, but Sam made it fun anyway. I remember, I think it was Ryan that wanted to play soccer, and they needed a coach, and Sam stepped up and volunteered. And then he hit the books because he didn't know the rules for soccer. He just knew that somebody had to do it, and it was important to Ryan, so it was important to him. He never felt coaching kids was a burden. He loved it. I was trying to think of what to say today, and Gail gave me some ideas of things I might want to include. And when I looked at the notes that she gave me, and I reflect back, I can see his influence in so many areas of my life. So many ways I try to emulate the example that he gave me. And Sam taught me so much through the years, not by telling me, but by showing me in the way he lived his life. He set the example for me in how to be a parent and a husband. He was dedicated to providing for his family, rarely missing work for any reason. And you could tell in the way he was there for his children and Gail that he sincerely cared more about them than he did about himself. And it was more than love. He cherished his family. His coaching is just one example of the ways that he showed it, but it showed in the way he related to them every day. He was always there for his kids. He was always there for his grandkids, attending performances, activities, important events, and including just getting down on the floor to play with them. He was Gramps. I think I formed my love of travel and adventure from the way Sam and Gail loved to travel. With family living on the East Coast and the Southeast, vacations sometimes meant driving across the country, sometimes straight through, and sometimes camping along the way, but it was always an adventure. They also took a lot of shorter trips up to the coast, and it was from Sam that I learned that it's not about getting to the destination, it's about enjoying the journey. And that was the way he lived his life. At a time when most people would be hunting for a recliner, Sam just adapted and moved ahead, making the best of the circumstances life gave him, enjoying the journey. And that enjoyment was contagious. My wife, Joy, asked our daughters to describe Sam in one word, and the consensus was fun. I remember one time I went to watch him play softball. I think he was in his late 60s then, and playing first base, and I can't recall how he injured his leg. He either pulled something or twisted his ankle, but he could barely walk. And the thing I really remember about that was that even though he was obviously in pain, he didn't leave the game. He just changed positions to catcher so that his inability to run wouldn't be a factor, and he could still support his team. Sam loved playing softball, and he played on many different teams through the years. Like going to St. George, Utah to participate in the World Senior Games, and he played right on through his mid-70s. And even when his health was failing over the last few months, I don't think it ever entered his mind that he was not going back to that ball field. I think the greatest lesson that Sam taught me was how to be a Christian man. He never used swear words, he was always active in church, but beyond those things, you could really see Christ in the way Sam lived. He showed me that you don't have to be conformed to the world or bound by your circumstances. You can stand up and let your influence change the world around you, and you can make a difference in the lives around you. Gail told me that Randy said, "What does one say when the best dad anyone could ask for passed away?" And I don't know. Maybe it's enough to know that Sam was the best dad anyone could ask for. To me, he was my uncle, my friend, my mentor, and I love him and I'll miss him. But I know I'll be seeing him again in the long run. He's just enjoying the journey a little ahead of us. Thanks.